Was it hard sort of, I mean, teens are teens, and I think in some ways, they're still going through the same developmental stuff that we went through, but obviously there's all this technology and, new slang and vocabulary and, how are you able to sort of keep current in that way? Was it from your clients or just sort of watching pop culture?
Probably a little bit of both of those. I also have two teens myself, so
Ah.
I there's no really getting out of that element right now for me, which is fine because I love teenagers. So, and I hope to continue writing books for teens. But one other thing too is with this book, it's written in free verse poetry as opposed to standard prose, and because of that element and the fact that there are so few words as compared to a standard prose novel for teens, I think that I had to be really careful in each particular word that I chose. So I did a lot of, there were some things, there's not a lot of ongoing texting going on in the book. She pretty much isolates herself after a while. So I think because of the way it was written, I didn't have to worry as much about staying true to some of the modern technology stuff. So, hopefully it worked.
So tell us a little bit about what you were like as a teenager and, going along the reach out theme, if you did go through a tough time, which all of us did at one point, sort of what helped you the most back then to get through it?
Yeah, well, when I was a teenager, Kate, the main character's best friend in the book, she is a competitive dancer, and I was a competitive dancer in high school, and that was very important to me. And that was a lot of my social network was at the dance studio and with my dance friends. And I went through struggles in high school and college, and I think the thing that got me through was the network of friends I had around me and family members that I could talk to. I'm so inspired by what you're doing here at Reach Out, though, because I think they didn't have this when I was in high school, and the idea that kids can come on anonymously and without worrying about who's seeing what or who's saying what, and talk openly about some issues that are really tough to talk about in an area where they can feel safe and protected. I mean, I think that's such a wonderful thing, and hopefully kids have people that they can turn to, who they know and trust in tough times. I was lucky that I did, but in addition to that, the fact that there are places that teens can go like this, I think is critical and so wonderful that it's available. So.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
We're excited about doing this work as well, and we're excited that you're helping let people know about it, even by doing this. So everybody always wants to know about the writer's process, and I was curious about what yours is. If you sort of wake up early, or put music on, or you have to write in complete silence, or sort of how do you get into that creative sort of dream space to really, animate your characters?
Well, I know every author's process is different, and for me, I tried. I can't write with music. I've tried, and I listen to music when I'm not writing, and I think in a lot of ways that can inspire me. But I tend to write in complete silence, and I also tend to write in spurts. There are some days where I get myself going and I keep going. And there are other days when I'll have just a burst of a thought and I won't be able to take it any further. And then I'll have to go do something else, take a walk, take a shower, to get the ideas generating. I think also some writers really enjoy the first draft stage of a book where they're ideas are all new and fresh and pouring out of them. For me, I struggle more with the first draft. It's in a second, a third, or fourth draft where I'm revising a story that I can really get to the heart of what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I don't really know exactly what I'm trying to do with a book until I'm at the end of the first draft. So that's that's the way it works for me. And I find the more I write, the more I know. I tend to write books not necessarily having a whole plot thought out. I have a situation and a character, and I write because I need to know what happened. And that's what happened, in this book. When I decided that it was going to be told from Liz's point of view, I was overwhelmed with the thought of how could someone possibly work through a situation like that. But for me, that was a good kind of overwhelmed because it kept me going. I needed to keep writing in order to find that out. So that's how my process works. I also wish I could say that I was one of those writers that gets up at 5 o'clock and has my cup of coffee and writes straight through till my kids get home from school. But I tend to do a lot of thinking and then write, and then more thinking and then write. And so far that works for me. I sometimes wish it would work a little bit faster, but I'm trying to embrace my process and accept that that's the way I do it. So